Hi, welcome to Leap Taken. I'm Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. So today, I wanted to talk about manifesting your dreams. So over on my blog, leaptaken.wordpress.com, there's a post that I put out today where I'm introducing my Manifest Your Dreams worksheet. Now, I did a printout here, which is probably nothing you're going to be able to actually read from this angle. I just wanted to give you an idea of how it looked as far as it's a two-page. I printed it front and back. But yeah, the Manifest Your Dreams worksheet, the whole purpose of this is to help you manifest your dreams. So, um, in for me, when people are talking about manifesting and desire, bringing your desires into your reality and thoughts become things, law of attraction, all of that really falls in the same under the same umbrella of what I do and what a lot of us do if you're watching this. Um, Basically, how we practice. This is just a physical representation of kind of getting it from here to here. I do believe that when you put things on paper, something even more magical occurs. That's why I'm so big on keeping a book of shadows, a grimoire, or some sort of record of what you're doing, how you're feeling, the results of your spells, the things that you're learning, just your own grimoire. I think that's super important. So the Manifest Your Dreams worksheet, it's really just, the first step is just to think. I mean, it's really simple. And, it's a lot of lines here, a lot of space just to write what it is that you desire. What are your goals? Or if you just have one main goal, let's, really break this down. And under the frame of witchcraft for sure. Let's say your life is kind of together, things are going good, but there are still things that you feel would make your life even better. Maybe it's a relationship, relationships. I'm not even necessarily talking romantic. Maybe it's to get away from a romantic relationship. You got your finances are well, you feel pretty balanced, you feel good, but because of all those positive other things, positive relationships, you realize this romantic relationship you're in is actually that's the thing, that's the last thing that you need to kind of shed yourself of. Whatever it is, those are just kind of more in the personal things. But let's say it's the other stuff, a house, a car, a vacation, jewelry, I don't know, money, a certain lifestyle. I'll keep it even broader. A certain lifestyle, turning your life into something more of what you would prefer. A lot of us are not necessarily living the way we want to live. And with this, dream big. I'm not asking you to stifle yourself or to, you know, I don't stifle yourself. I don't want you to stifle yourself. I want you to dream very big. But the part where you kind of hone in a little bit more is going to be on the second page, and that's going to be in step three. Step three is I have a section on, it says what I need to do. And remember, just go to, I'll have the link in this video so you'll see all this that I'm talking about. But it says, it's basically a breakdown, what I need to do, and how will it get done in the middle, oops, sorry, and then when it's done on the end. So I have it set up where the when it's done could be a due date or a date you've already completed, however you use that space. But it's basically action steps. I even give an example to get you started. Let's say you want to be a homeowner in the next year or two. So I give the example, and the first line is just kind of a breakdown of maybe one of the actionable steps that you would take to make this goal happen for you. Now let's add some magic to it. You might be writing in that space, perform a spell. The name of the spell that you're going to do. You might write that down on that sheet so that these are your actionable steps. Spell a crystal or spell a candle that has this intention in it. Burn this every, whatever day of the week or every night or whatever it is. That's your actionable step. And that's something, the due date might be ongoing. You might put ongoing. That's something you're doing ongoing until you get what you want. Even for something practical as home ownership. But I want to stay with the lifestyle example a little bit more because ultimately, when people are talking about manifesting, usually, I mean, you have some, it's more short term, but others, it's really a lifestyle. You want a different life. One with abundance, one where money's coming in, flowing in, you're not stressed about bills and money. One where maybe you're very driven in your career and you're rewarded for it. One where you have dynamic relationships with, you know, uh, friendships, platonic friendships, and of course, maybe a romantic partner. It's and then that partner has a certain lifestyle that adds to yours, doesn't take away. It adds to yours. So a lot of us want that type of lifestyle, and we might say, oh well, I want to live in this big beautiful house in this gated community. That's what I desire. Well, to live there, you have to have a certain lifestyle. I think we can all agree on that. So the house is just the bone of what comes with the lifestyle, as opposed to just having the house, because that's silly to be you currently. Let's say you currently makes, you're not pulling in even quite six figures, and you want to go get this home in this gated community, and they start at like 500,000. Well, you're not even gonna qualify for that house. Even if you make just under 100 grand, you're not going to qualify. Even if you make 100 grand, you're not going to qualify for a $500,000 house. The rule of thumb, if I remember correctly, with that is like 3 times your yearly salary. Just rough estimates on what you might qualify for. Of course, they subtract with debts and all that other kind of stuff. But anyway, you wouldn't qualify for that, right? So you would have to be having a whole major life change. Either you're making more money, or you're in a situation with somebody else and you guys are putting your money together, but they have to make a certain money. So you have to be with somebody on a certain financial level, which means you have to attract someone on that level, which means you probably have to make some lifestyle changes. No matter how you look at it, everything's changing. You don't just get to be your current self and have that. And I know that's tough for some people to accept. I understand, but the reality of it is, people who have these sort of material gains, unless they won the lottery, typically there was some give and take of choices in lifestyle that went along with that. I'm not asking you to not be true to yourself and not be, your very essence that's supposed to go away. No, gosh, no, I'm not saying that. What I am saying is, yeah, you're probably going to have to be a little bit more refined. You're probably going to have to be more disciplined and challenged when it comes to certain social interactions and social situations. And this is even with, excuse me, your business. Don't think I just mean romantic relationships, because even relationships are relationships. Business relationships, they all require the same song and dance that you got to do when you deal with people, except it doesn't go sexual when you're dealing in the business world. Either way, you still got to put that effort in. You still have to do the dance. Uh, the mild, not flirtatiousness, but be attractive, but you don't want to be too much. It's this give and take, this push and pull, and you have to learn to balance and present yourself that way, basically all the time, when you're dealing with people in the business, in your business, right? So you have to make some changes. You probably, maybe it could be just your appearance. It might be the way you speak. Um, Accents are fine. I think people, if you have an accent, you have an accent. It's crazy to me that people judge people with accents, but it's one thing to have an accent. It's another thing if you're struggling with speaking in a way that people understand you. We're not even going to put it on like, oh, articulate. No, in a way that this girl, I'm from New Jersey originally. I lived in the South, and now I live on the West Coast. I feel like, regardless of, and I've spent a lot of time in the South, I don't think I picked up a Southern accent. If I sound even remotely Southern, which I know I don't, if I do, it is because I am from South Jersey originally, close to Philly, so not the same Jersey that sounds like, I guess people think like New York, But I do talk with my hands, so I'm from the East Coast, Northeast at least. Um, Either way, if I need to kind of sit on my hands for a minute to appear, a little less more animated, depending on the situation I'm in, I'm capable of doing that. It's not natural for me, but I can modify that because I understand that can be distracting. Um, the tone of voice that I use. This is my normal speaking voice, whether I'm doing this YouTube video or whether I'm, talking to anybody of any background and any age or race or whatever. I don't code switch. So this is just me when I'm talking to everybody. Um, if this was a hindrance to me getting something that I truly desired, I would modify it. It wouldn't take away who I was because the reality of it is I'm more than just my speaking voice. If I have a range in my voice and I know I can sound differently, then isn't that me too? Isn't that how I speak? That's I'm choosing to use this tone instead of the other one because this is just more comfortable. But of course, we could all change the tone of our voice um, at any point. I mean, you ever try to sing along with a song? You can modify the tone of your voice, right? Of course we can. So if that's what it took, if I got the looks down, I want this position at my company. It's going to put me in a certain financial stratosphere, and I want that. I want that lifestyle that comes with that, or I want to get with this type of man. And I understand just by observation that I need to maybe soften my voice up a little bit because they tend to go more for that versus more my Jersey accent. I am not going to imitate what that sounds like because no matter how I try it, it always sounds raspy. I don't know how to do it, but if it was possible, right, I would probably humor it. I think people kind of beat themselves up on this sort of stuff, and this thing of, well, I shouldn't have to change. Well, you're expecting big change, but you don't want to make any changes. You don't want to make even small changes to yourself. Remember, this is you. No one's telling you to do this. This is a decision you would be making because this is what you want. You want that lifestyle. So my worksheet would be that granular where you would write down, maybe speech lessons. That's possible. Speech lessons to go somewhere and have a better idea of how to maybe articulate a little bit better so that everyone can understand you. And this is probably not an issue for a lot of people. And this is not about race or anything like that. Let me just be clear. This is about dialect, where you're from. Southern. I spent time living in Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida, and North Carolina. So they don't all sound the same. But when I would go more, yeah, definitely visit any place like Mississippi, just a little bit there. I didn't spend a lot of time there, but hearing how people speak in Louisiana, which I love that accent, Louisiana. Oh my God, I could just listen to people talk all day. I find it, I don't know, something about that drawl. It's just very soothing to my ears. But I realized not everyone, it's not even if they find it soothing, they might not understand you depending on where you're from, right? So you live in this area, but you're from an even smaller town, and everybody kind of knows each other. So the thing about small towns and everybody knows each other is everybody kind of sounds the same. So you don't think everyone understands you mostly, right? So you don't probably run into a whole lot of people who don't get you and don't understand you. But when you step out and spend more time outside of your community, you might realize that people are constantly saying, "What? I'm sorry, what did you say again? Say that again." So if you're finding that's an issue, and this is from dialect to people who talk too fast, um, their words run into each other. People, we just, we develop these little habits, and it's nothing wrong with refining a little bit. But I don't want to go into a whole thing about that. Clearly, I have something to say, right? But I kind of wanted to just kind of go a little bit more granular about changes because I'm all about practicality. Even when it comes to practicing spell work and magic and manifesting, write that crap down. Write that down. Write down the details of what you need to do to get what you want. Now, let's take it off of that sort of thing. Um, if the thing you want to do is, I in the blog post, you'll see I'll even talk about short term goals like losing weight or whatever it is that you're working on. Let's say it's self love. Man, you could go to town on this worksheet, writing down, everything from the physical stuff to, oh, buy, scented lotions for myself. I never do that. And use them. A lot of people buy stuff and don't use it. Use them. Bath bombs. Actually take the time to take a bath. Um, you know, schedule that appointment to get your nails and your feet done. That sort of stuff. A massage, facial, whatever. Or do your at-home spa. Get all the, write down, go shopping for my supplies, and write that down. So this is a thing that you're doing, on the weekend, this is something you want to work on. So you would write that down and put maybe what's when it's done. You will put the due date that you plan on doing it, or you put the date it's done, and so forth. And then when you actually do it. So these are short-term goals of learning to have a little bit more self-love. So it starts with the physical, and then you're going to do some mental work. Maybe you need to do some meditation. Maybe you need to do some shadow work, and you can write down what that means. Picked up journal to work on shadow work, so you write down what I need to do by journal. How will I get it done? A website, Amazon, a link that you click on. Go Amazon.com, find a link. I found a book. It's the such and such and such a notebook. Um, and write down when you buy it, it's done. Okay, and maybe you want to have something here where it's to write in that for a period of time. You want to take 2 weeks or a week to really just kind of focus on these darker parts of yourself and these emotions and where they're coming from. Why do you feel this way about yourself? You might be, if you're able to find prompts or things like that, that's great, because there's a lot of things. If you search on Google for shadow work, you'll see a lot of people already have journal prompts to do that type of work. So look for that, and then write that stuff down in your journal. Get all that out of you and read it. You don't just release it. Yeah, write it down, but read that. So this is a dialogue and a conversation with yourself. So that would be a good thing to write down on the worksheet as well. So this can be very helpful for the big stuff, a house, a lifestyle, a man, to self. Not that that's not big, but things that are the goals are a little quick. You can achieve those a little quicker, or losing weight, or growing your hair long. Well, that might not be that quick, but you can. It depends on what you consider long, and once you see measurable growth, technically the goal is reached. Um, so that would, now maintaining it would be something different. But I would talk about going into a planner or a journal at that point. I really love this worksheet. I really, really like this. This is helpful to me. I'm somebody who likes to write stuff down. Now, I made it landscape because I just think it's easier to write, on the page that way. And the way it printed, and especially kind of keeping track here, you can keep this like in a binder. If you have a binder planner system, this is great. I'll be honest, I did not try to shrink this down to like an A5 size. So if you have an A5 planner, um, I'm not sure how this will look. I didn't do that because I wasn't concerned about it. Otherwise, you could also just, fold it up and keep it in your planner as well. Maybe, just punch this side with the punch and then fold, and then, fold it out. You can always do that too. That way it's in your planner at the start of January. Of course, I'm talking to the people who have planners, like myself. I am a planner person. I have more than one planner. It's kind of a lifestyle. There's a convention coming up, and I'm seriously thinking I want to go. The tickets are ridiculously expensive. They're like 500 plus bucks to go to a planner convention, and it's going to be in California, and it's near. I'm near California now. I've never lived near California my entire life, but I can drive there. It's just a few hours away. I'm really thinking about going. I feel silly, not silly, but guilty. So I got to work through that about buying the ticket for it, because there's so many other things I want to do. Like I have a son who lives in another state, and I really want to go visit him. My husband and I, that's the tickets for both of us pretty much. And I felt I wanted to go soon, but I mean I could try to do both. But once I commit to this trip, there's the hotel, and it's near Disney, and I want to go there, and it's gonna be a whole week of meals and things. So this is gonna be at least 15, maybe if that. Let me think. Probably about 1,500, $1,200 maybe just for that. I wouldn't even be spending that much money to go see my son. I have got to balance this out. Um, I told this to my husband, and he's so sweet. He says, or he could just come to us. There's two of us, actually three if my daughter goes. He said there's one of them. He can physically just come visit us. It will not be the same exchange, that way. And ultimately, we just want to be together. We would be more comfortable if he came here. We're home. Why go in a hotel? So I like the way he thinks. So I don't know. I'm leaning on going, guys. We'll see how this works out. But anyway, yeah, the worksheet, I am super proud about it. Hopefully, if you find it's helpful to you, let me know. I think it's great. And again, it's Manifest Your Dreams Worksheet. Now, last week on my blog, I posted another worksheet, worst case scenario. And I kind of wanted to just touch on this a little bit. Worst case scenario worksheet. If you are someone who, me, I'm talking about myself, someone who struggles, I've mastered this. That worksheet is why I was able to even do the worksheet because this has kind of been my philosophy. I'm a worrier. I have been known to be a worrier. I've worked on it over the years now, but I used to worry all the time. When I mean worry, I mean I would give myself stomach aches just tossing the same freaking negative thoughts around in my head on what's gonna happen, what could happen, or what I don't want to happen. And this is even when I was practicing witchcraft. This is definitely something that I struggle with. I think most of my life that I can remember from teenage years on up, like worrying was something. It was modeled to me by the people that I grew up around, and it just became a part of who I was. That's how I dealt with conflict and issues. I worried. And it was such a waste of time worrying like that. But anyway, it's basically being afraid. You're afraid of something. You fear something is going to come true. The thing you don't want to happen, right? And that's all you can think about, what you don't want to happen. And it feels impossible to stop because there's this part of your brain just saying, but this is the real world. This is the real stuff happening. You can't just be happy or watch TV, eat this food, or just act like this thing is not blowing up. You got to pay attention. You got to think about this. And here's the thing. The worst case scenario worksheet gives you permission to go ahead and let that play out. That is the secret for me to get over the worry. Play it out. Play out this crazy scene of just horribleness that I'm so afraid of. Let it play out from beginning to end with details. Right, and I give you a space to write out what it is that is the worst case. What's the worst thing that you are fearful of that's keeping you from sleeping at night? So to put context behind it, you're afraid you're going to lose your job. They've been doing layoffs in phases. Your department's coming. Everybody's talking about it. You can barely sleep because you don't know what the heck you're going to do. You've been at this job for a certain number of years. You're comfortable. You don't even know if you're marketable outside of your company. Everything is very specific where you work, so it doesn't necessarily carry over to other companies. This is what you're thinking now. So you're struggling with this concept of how am I going to make the same money? I like working here, and there's not a lot of opportunities where I live. This is what you're thinking. Doesn't mean any of this is all true, but this is how you're thinking. This is what you're telling yourself. I'm gonna lose my house. I'm gonna lose everything. We can't afford to live here without a job. Blah blah blah, and you're sick about it. Here's what you would do with my worst case scenario worksheet. Also available on the blog. It's under the blog post that says "Let's go to the dark side." That worksheet basically will walk you through emptying all of that out, and then I add a little burning ritual when you're done, which I think is helpful. because you're going to give yourself time to really play out. Okay, so now they lay you off. You're right. You get laid off. What happens next? All right, so then what? And then what's gonna happen? Okay, so then you're on the street. Okay. So you go to a homeless shelter? Like, what? Tell me what's gonna happen next. Do you go live with your mom or some family or some friends? You got to sleep on their couch. Okay. So you go. So you probably think you'll be stuck. All right. All right. Work it all out. Give it to me. Everything. Okay. Shame. You feel shame. Okay. Tell me how you feel. Write all of that down on that sheet. And me, not me, but tell yourself this. What is the worst thing that's going to happen? How bad is it getting in your mind? Because a lot of us are thinking that, but we never really fully go down the road because we're afraid. But that's why you keep thinking like you're on a hamster wheel. It keeps go because you never play the movie of the worst case scenario to the end. I'm asking you to play it all the way to the end and watch what happens once you play it out. And you're like, okay. First of all, depending on how you think, you might realize you start solving while you're playing out the worst case scenario. Don't write that down. No, write the bad. Write the ugly stuff out of what you really think is going to happen. What the worst thing that could possibly happen. Play it all the way through. Once you're done, boom, be done with that. There's a ritual instructions on burning it. You'll find when you reflect about it in that moment during the ritual or right after writing, you're seeing, or I could just do this, or I could do that. You start seeing holes in the fear. You start seeing that maybe it wouldn't quite go this bad. Because you might be able, because you might get a severance package. So, I mean, I'm not going to be on the street the day they kick me out. You know, I have an opportunity to do something. If I'm leasing, I could always, yeah, it's not good to break the lease, but I don't have a job. It's better than being evicted. And you might have to start making some, decisions based on that. Maybe we need to go back to, where my family's from and be out there for a little bit. Things are cost of living's a little cheaper while I find something. Or maybe instead, I've got my resume out there, I'm working with somebody I know, or maybe I'm going to start a business and just start it right now instead of worrying and spinning my wheels. I start it now and avoid all this. Yeah, you might have a whole other reason to write on another worst case scenario worksheet doing all this other stuff because that brings its own sense of fear and worry. That's okay. Print another empty sheet out, fill that one in. Hopefully you get where I'm going with this. You write all this stuff out, and the whole purpose is to kind of just release it. Be done with it. You played it out. What is there to worry about? You already know what could possibly happen. Okay, you make your peace with it. You find the holes because they're going to show up because when you're thinking fearfully, you typically are not rational at that point. So you're not seeing obvious solutions to problems because you are in this state of fear. The fear blocks it. This is all great for doing spell work as well. Before you even start working a spell, you can do these types of sheets to sort of release. It makes you tap into that stuff you think maybe you're not even really thinking about, but it's blocking your spell work. And I'll be doing a video soon on spell, when your spells aren't working, what that means exactly. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, go to leaptaken.wordpress.com and Manifest Your Dreams Worksheet. The worst case scenario worksheet is on the dark. It's the name of the blog post is Let's Go to the Dark Side. That's there. I did that last week. So yeah, I'll have links, of course, for you to click on all this. But yeah, hopefully this is helpful. I find them helpful I use these worksheets. I find them helpful for me. So hopefully they're helpful to you too. So thank you for watching. Again, I'm Mika. This is Leap Taken. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. And subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, again, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And thanks again. Bye.